Welcome to episode number 3. So in this episode we're gonna dive, after having talked about where tea is coming from and what different types of tea actually exist, we're gonna go into your experience or maybe your first experience in general with tea. Tea can come in all sorts of form, and we know loose leaf tea is actually the most exclusive and also the most interesting tea form, and this we're gonna dive into a little bit now, because I believe that one of your very first experiences could have been with a so-called tea bag. So we got a tea bag here and it looks like this, and today we want to dive into the world of tea bag and to see a little bit what tea bag consists of. Often tea bags are smaller pieces of tea, and often also dust-like material of the production of tea is used. When I was in Japan, for example, we had a machine which actually separated the stems, the leaves and the dust from the tea, and finally the dust was finally explained to us that it is used for tea bags. So I brought here just a normal store-bought tea bag, and when we just have a look at this, just for a close-up, I'll show it to you closer. And voila. So when we have a look at this, so what you can see that this tea is quite finely chopped. It is not a very strong green tea. It's a little bit pale, it's a little bit brown. So it has a little bit the earthy colors, and it doesn't seem to be too much of a high quality. Also, when we just look at it, it's quite dusty, small leaves. Also, this is done due to the fact that when you grow tea, you want to maximize as a lower quality tea. You try to maximize the leaf, so you chop it in small parts, or you even make it as close as possible to dust, and then you maximize the whole surface of the tea, and this then finally brings out a tea which looks like this. And often the problem about these teas is that they are quite flat in terms of taste, and the reason is that the essential oils, which then trigger also a complexity in a tea, which are a reason for a very complex and very broad taste experience, they are lost in these leaves. And that's why often these teas are also flavored. They talk about natural flavors, but in essence it is just flavor that is added to the tea leaf. When we just look at loose leaf tea, we just have a complete different one. So this one is a mix, a Japanese green tea. You already see in terms of color, very different, these two. And what you can see is really that the color is very beautiful, very intense, very straightforward on its greenness. You have whole leaves, really beautiful. When we just look at these leaves here, for example, we have long needles. With the other one, we really only have dust. And in this tea also we have some stems which are in, so it's kind of a mix of stems and leaves even. And here we got the pure tea leaf, very beautifully rolled. So here also you might see a little bit of a shiny kind of a surface, and this is mainly due to the fact that this tea contains a lot of essential oils. And what I want to dive into a little bit is just to see how the tea is done, or how the tea differs also in terms of taste. So what we're gonna see is really the comparison here of these two teas, but I want to be fair. As you can see here with the leaf tea, I already took more. So I'm gonna take 2 tea bags. So we're gonna just fill here the other 2 grams in. So we have quite a similar amount. We still have a little bit more of the loose leaf tea, so I'll take out a little bit just to be sure that we really compare or make a fair comparison of these two. And what I will do additionally, so you can see more or less the same amount of tea. Here the tea bag tea, here the loose leaf tea. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take the small Kyusu versus the bigger one. So here I will brew the loose leaf tea, and I will take the water, which I preheated already, and I'm gonna just brew these two teas in comparison. Good. Voila. Good. So, tea bag, loose leaf. Tea bag, we're gonna fill it up. Loose leaf, a little bit more water. And let's see how this two brew. So we're gonna brew it for both for 1 minute, just to see how the taste is evolving. I'm just checking on the brewing instructions of this one here. It's 2 to 3 minutes. So we're gonna leave this one here a little bit longer in, and this here we take after 1 minute. So this is a sencha now, which I used here, so-called Henta sencha. A lot of sweetness, a slight grassiness, a little bit of freshness, a little bit of a flowery note, and some sweet corn, which I get from the nose. So very, very beautiful tea. Now we're just gonna wait a little bit more until this one here is ready. So I made it intentionally a little bit less water, but you already can see in terms of color, massive difference between these two. Still a green tea and very, very dark. Now let's see. Already when we compare the Kyushu, quite dusty, nearly earthy flavor. Nearly smells a little bit like dirt. And here, very much sweetness. I got a more of a creamy taste, flavor profile kind of. And I got a beautiful sweet corn and flower note with this one here. Yeah, here we are definitely earthy. So you can also see with the leaves here we have typical brown leaves, which you saw before already. Meanwhile, here the beautiful green leaves of this Kyushu, so very, very different in terms of color. Here we got a little bit more of a milk tone, green, and here really the brown tone, also with less water to give it a little bit of an extra flavor kick. So let's go first for the tea bag. Yeah. It really got this dusty flavor. Quite earthy. There's kind of a slight astringent note, a little bit of a kind of a green note still with it. So there's a little bit of flavor in this tea, definitely. But quite earthy. I get a little bit of a sweetness, slight sweetness of banana, but also becoming quite dry on the top of the tongue. There's a little bit of taste lingering. It's okay. I would say if you like it a little bit earthy and not too much kind of this taste explosion, taste variety, quite a straightforward taste. Unfortunately, a little bit dry on the top of the tongue, so it really kind of dries out my mouth now. Yeah, so this is a little bit the tea bag tea. Now let's see for the sencha. Huge difference already in the beginning. Super, super sweet, super florally. It's quite florally, a little bit of fresh cut grass, fresh cut grass, which I get with it. Kind of starting with a beautiful kind of florally note, fresh cut grass. In the beginning it's kind of a little more green, then it goes over into kind of a more grassy, a little bit lower grassy tone, and then in the end I get a lot of banana peel. So very sweet. And just very creamy. That's the nice thing about when you have a tea which has a lot of essential oils. It really goes into kind of this more creamy, more smooth, more kind of full flavor profile, and you got these different stages which I was explaining before. So I had 3 different taste notes in one tea, while here I got this kind of dirty, dusty flavor, and then in the end it changes a little bit into a slight green note with an astringency, drying the mouth, and kind of little bit of this banana peel sweetness, but very, very slight. Well, this one here, it's complete. It's like really much fresher. There's no kind of this dust or earthy flavor with it. There's a strong sweet flavor with it. There's this kind of grassy, fresh cut grass flavor, and then in the end you really get this sweetness of the banana peel. So 2 complex, different flavor profiles. And this is actually the world we want to dive into. This is the world of fresh loose leaf tea, and this is what we're gonna talk about in this course. As we go on, we really want to discover with you all together how the different tastes also of different teas of loose leaf Japanese organic green tea is, and this is actually real tea I want to talk about here.